What's up, guys? I am finally building something that I've been wanting to build for a long time. Well, I'm not gonna say I wanted to build it for a long time, but I've wanted to get into it for a long time. I am building a Plex server, and what that is, if you're watching this video, you probably know what it is. If not, Plex is basically, consider it like a Netflix, like a DIY Netflix. So think of how convenient Netflix is. You got it on your smart TVs, your iPads, your phones, you know, your computers, your tablets, whatever, and you have all the same content on all those devices. Now, imagine if you could have Netflix, but with your own movies. I know, weird example. This is definitely one my fiance picked out. Now imagine having all your physical media available to you like Netflix, and that's basically what Plex is. So basically, you are putting all of your media, which for me, it's going to be movies and TV shows. I'm not into the music. Well, not that I'm not into music, but I'm not into the like live TV. I'm not into the music aspect. And then there's like a couple other things, like you put like photos and like, you know, like videos like this on there. I'm just doing it for movies and TV shows. So basically, I'm ripping every single one of my Blu-rays, and I've got a lot. I'm not gonna say a lot of DVDs. I've got around 150 Blu-rays and I don't know, probably 20 DVDs. So definitely not a lot. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm using Make MKV, and I am saving all the videos to my computer, and then I'm building the server. So I have a very capable computer that I could use for this, but I don't leave this one running 24/7. For something like this, it is like, if you could divide these parts and like dumb them down, I could make like 30 Plex servers out of my gaming computer. So you don't need a lot of power for Plex. The one I'm building is going to be absolutely overkill, but I want room to expand. I want room. Basically, like you're building, for in my case, I'm building like a legitimate Windows computer, something that is literally what I'm doing right here, but it is strictly going to be for Plex, nothing else. But it is Windows, you know, so like I can do whatever I want on it. You know, if there's other programs that I can, you know, host or something like that, I have that ability. But ordered just about everything on Amazon. Well, yeah, actually, everything but the processor I've ordered on Amazon. And it's all here today, but the case and the processor are not going to be here till tomorrow, which sucks. But it's late anyways. I don't think I would have had time to finish it. This is, like I said, this is an overkill build. I'm not going to say too much power, way more than enough power for what I want to do with it, but still budget friendly in a sense. A lot of people are going with the NAS, which is the network attached storage, and basically think of like a computer without the computing part. Like you don't have like Microsoft Windows or, you know, Mac or Linux or something like that on it. You have a very bare bones OS that you access through a computer, and basically just mount like anywhere from like 1 to 12 hard drives in it, and it is literally just essentially a storage unit for hard drives. And that is probably one of the most popular options. I'm not familiar with that stuff, though. I'm not familiar with the operating systems that they use. And some of them have really lackluster processors. And the processor is basically like either your powerhouse or your bottleneck when it comes to Plex. I'm not even doing a graphics card in this computer. I'm doing onboard graphics with a Ryzen 5. You know, the model has the G in it, which means it has the integrated graphics. But yeah, let's get to it. You guys probably know mostly what Plex is by now. If not, I will be doing plenty of videos on it. This is the server though. I have part of the stuff here, so I'm gonna get like the motherboard ready, and then tomorrow when the case and the rest of the stuff gets here, we'll be good to go and get it done really quick. Alright, so you guys are gonna unbox this stuff with me as we go. I'm trying to keep it hidden so my address doesn't show. I don't think I mentioned it, but I'm doing a small form factor build. So I went with a micro ATX motherboard. And as you can see, I went with the Gigabyte B450M DS3H Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is optional. I am still kind of undecided where I'm going to put this, and in certain places Wi-Fi would be my only option, so I wanted to find one with Wi-Fi built in. Of course, you can always get a PCI card or whatever, PCI Express Wi-Fi card. Very basic box. The Wi-Fi antennas. And then you've got, looks like 2 SATA cables. One has a 90-degree connector, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, the meat and potatoes. I always like to give them once over, you know, make sure. I mean, we're using a AMD processor, so there's really no damage that can be done on this. I do love this board as well. Not only does it have the onboard graphics, you know, it's got HDMI, the onboard Wi-Fi, but it has more than one PCI Express slot. A lot of these boards only have one, and it has a NVMe slot, or an M.2, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to be running 4 Western Digital Red hard drives. It is literally connected to my other computer right here, right now. My first one is 12 terabyte. I'm probably going to go with 3 of the same, unless I can get a similar deal on something bigger. Of course, I'll go bigger. And then for memory, we got some generic no-name stuff. Power X, or silicone power. But we have DDR4, 3200 speed, 16 gigs total, so 2 8GB sticks. That's overkill for this, honestly. I could have done with 4 or even 8. But since we are going to be running Windows 10, and that alone is kind of memory heavy, I went with 16. Obviously, you can't have there's no such thing as too much. Got some Molex to SATA power cables in case I don't have enough on this power supply. I think I will, but the issue is 3 of these drives get mounted together, and then one of them gets mounted in the total opposite corner of the case. So it's going to be a matter of, do these cables split enough? And then here's the power supply. It is a Corsair VS500. It's full ATX size. It is not modular. Like I said, I'm going for budget, and this thing was like 30-40 bucks, something like that. The most expensive part by far is going to be the drives. So for the 12 terabyte Western Digital Red, I paid about 200 bucks, a little over 200 with shipping, maybe like 230. So this drive right here is going in the case, and here is my first hard drive. Alright guys, so fast forward a little bit here. I'm ripping discs in the new rig. The discs rip at the exact same speed. That's basically just dependent on your drive up here and you know, what kind of storage you're saving it on. So we come up here, and you can see these ones. This is Handbrake. These are converting movies, or these are movies that are being converted. This is Make MKV. Once it loads, we click that, and then it basically like scans the disc. This usually only takes about a minute tops. But this scans like all the files, gets rid of like junk that you might not want, and then, oh wow, that was actually really quick. That wasn't a lot. So your big one is the actual movie. All these are gonna be like, you know, special features, deleted scenes, stuff like that. So I don't want any of that. If you want to back up with a full disc, obviously, you know, you keep all that, but I just take the big one there. I actually open it up too, just to save some. I don't need Portuguese subtitles. I don't need Spanish subtitles. I keep the English ones. Sometimes there's like multiple instances, so don't need French. I don't need audio in Portuguese, Spanish, or French. And then 99% of them, it has the name already in there. Click that. It says this file doesn't exist. Do you want to create it? Yep. And then boom, that's how you rip a disc. So one disc takes anywhere from about 10 to 20 minutes, especially if they're clean, they're quicker. I had one that had some smudges on it that I couldn't see until I put like a certain light on it, and then that one kept failing. I couldn't figure out why, but once that's done, it comes into here. This is my Plex hard disk. So all my ripped ones go into here. These are all the ones I've got done so far. You know, and then when you, let's say, click that one, and there's the video file right there. And this is like the raw, uncompressed one straight from the disc. And then the ones I've converted are here in the Handbrake folder. And, you know, I mean, they load the exact same. This one I actually ripped the wrong version. This one has like a pop-up fax, which is kind of cool. I never knew the disc had that, but I don't want that on my regular version, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete that when I redo it. But it is there. So this has been going for approximately, today is gonna be day 3. And this is what I have done so far. So at first I was ripping on this, which has a, don't mind the mess right now, like this, my workstation / desk here is so cluttered, computer's still torn apart. This has a Ryzen 9 5900X, and then this has a Ryzen 5 5600G, something like that, don't quote me. I think that's what it is. It's got integrated graphics though. It's, for regular stuff, it's very fast. It's a very powerful processor. I love it. But it is, oh, you can't really see in there. It is nowhere near as fast to rip. I would say if this was like, you know, the speed we're going by, so this would be like 100%. This would be probably, I'd say at least 65-70% as fast as this one. So really no issues. I mean, it's a very powerful rig. It just takes upwards of about 3 hours per. So like if I go to dodgeball right here, this one started at 2:02 p.m. and it is, oh, you know what? That's wrong. Yeah, because my system time on this one's wrong. So it's actually 6:28 right now, and this is 3:28. So 2:02 it started. It's 3:28, so it's been an hour and a half-ish. And you can see it's about a little less than halfway done, maybe 40%. And then if I click on the regular thing right here, it'll actually show you. Yep, 43%. Average frames 10%, or 10 per second, or current frames per second 10, average 11. It's been an hour and a half. It's got about 2 hours remaining. So some of them, I don't know why, are taking way longer. Like one movie did it finished in right about 2 hours, and then I had another one which was about the same length, and that one took like 4 exactly on the dot. So it really just depends on the file size, the quality. These are all converting at the same thing, at the same, you know, specs or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so that is basically the blunt of the Plex server. It is up and running, so like I can go right here. I can hit open. Sorry, I'm doing this through my phone, so I'm like messing it up. Of course, I gotta activate my windows. But if I click movies down here, like you can see them all, which is really cool. And then you can, you know, resize really small, make them really big. But you know, got a decent collection so far, and it's cool. Like it, you know, it just gives you random. Every time I log on or whatever, it'll give you like random, you know, top movies by this person, or you know, movies featuring this actor. You know, top movies in crime. I think the last one was like horror or something like that. Then, you know, you got recently added, and then you can just click library up top, and then you have, you know, everything. So it's really cool. I love it. Well, guys, my setup is pretty much done. So this is like my downstairs kind of little desk area. My gaming computer, I'll get to why it's open and all these wires and stuff. But I have a dual monitor setup, but right now I've just been stealing this upper monitor for the Plex server, which is just, I'm gonna call it a Plex server, but it's literally just a Windows PC. It's the same as this, just with different specs. And you can see I've been working for quite some time. This thing is dusty. It's crazy. So this PC right here has a Ryzen 9 5900X. Pretty powerful processor, really powerful processor. Totally overkill for Plex though. This one, I was starting off with a really budget build because you don't need a lot of power. Actually, I'm gonna clean this because it looks so much worse on camera. So just to show you how basic this thing is. Got one fan there on the CPU cooler. One here, down low. Basically, I put this one down low. This one was when I bought the computer, the case up here. The case came with 2 fans. But I know that's gonna give plenty of airflow. There's a fan behind it as an exhaust as well. So I wanted this one down here, basically to have airflow to the hard drives, and you know, definitely won't hurt to get some fresh air around that power supply. But like I was saying though, this is a Ryzen 5 5600G, I think. Yep. And it's got integrated graphics because there's no need to have a graphics card. Also, they're still really expensive. Prices are going down though, thankfully. But I'm not using this as a computer. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be browsing the internet. I'm not going to be watching YouTube videos. I'm not going to be playing games on it. Although it is, with this processor, completely capable of all that stuff. Like, yes, you can play games with this processor with the integrated graphics. It's crazy. This thing is actually really powerful. But I wanted something that was going to have no issues, you know, transcoding a couple streams if it has to. Also, when I do rip Blu-rays, so what that is, you know, I'm taking the Blu-ray disc, putting it in there, that basically downloads it to the computer, and then that's like its raw 4K whatever format, where it's full every bit of data. So basically, like, for instance, Back to the Future. That is an old movie. I got them on Blu-ray though, and one of them was over 50 gigabytes. Just one of them. So for 3 movies, we'll say roughly 150 gigabytes. That's insane. We don't have like a movie theater set. If I was doing some kind of like full quality movie theater setup, I might keep them in the raw format like that. Or, you know, maybe a handful of movies that like really shine, you know, on like a 4K projector or something like that. But we've just got, you know, our basic TV. I mean, it's great TV, 82-inch Samsung, you know, 4K, all that stuff. But anything in 1080 looks fantastic on there. Doesn't look like planet Earth on an 8K OLED, no. But for me and for our use, it is 100% perfect. So basically what Handbrake does, the program, is it takes that 50 gigabyte movie file and it plays it frame by frame and it compresses it. And depending on what settings you use, you can get that 50 gigabyte file down to about, I mean, if you go, like I said, it depends on the settings you use. You can bring it down 20 or 30 gigabytes, or you can bring that file down to 2 to 3 gigabytes. And it doesn't look drastically different. It's awesome. I love the program. It's free. But it uses a lot. It uses 100% of your CPU. Like when you're transcoding a movie, or I'm sorry, in compressing through Handbrake, whatever you want to call it, your processor is at 100% usage the whole time. It's pretty demanding, which leads me to my next point of why I have both computers down here still. This one I will never be using. So this is going to go up in our back bedroom. I got this little stand that came with my desk, so it's perfect. I can set it right on the floor, on the carpet, and it's going to have plenty of ventilation because it's not on the carpet itself. This is the only one with a disk drive. This one doesn't have one. So I would rip disks in here, and then I would take about half of them and transfer them to this computer for this one to encode them. Or compress, whatever the heck you want to call it, because this one is significantly faster because of the power. And there's a couple settings where I can actually use the GPU as well. Like there was some movies on this one would take 4 or 5 hours for one movie. Some on this one would take 2 to 3. And then there's a setting where I can use my graphics card, like, you know, the hardware acceleration or whatever. And there was some of them that I was getting done in 20 to 25 minutes. Now, those ones are going to be a bigger file. It's not going to compress as much, and they're not going to be as high quality. But again, for our setup, which is TV and phone, the quality is 100% great. So that 20-minute, 25-minute encode or compression, whatever you want to call it, still looks phenomenal. Sound is perfect. So this thing was a beast to compress them for me. And then this is going to be my storage beast to hold it all and host it all. So, obviously you can see I cleaned it. It actually looks dirty on camera, but it's clean. I don't know if it's just like the light reflecting, but that's one thing I love about this case is every opening has this kind of mesh, and there was very little dust inside of there. So this is catching it really good. I can pop this glass off here, get you a better look. I still haven't peeled the sticker off of it. But I use the stock Wraith cooler that comes with the AMD processor. And for what it's doing now, like just idling, perfect. For me running Plex 24/7, perfect. But when I was encoding the movies, when this thing was sitting at 100%, it was sitting at about 80 to 85 degrees. And that's not really going to hurt anything, to be honest. Like, that's perfectly okay. But I don't like temperatures that high. So I grabbed this bad boy on Amazon. It was like 40 bucks. It's a big Be Quiet cooler, obviously, as you can see, brand. It comes with one fan. It does come with clips if I wanted to put another fan on it. But I figure I got this fan right here as an exhaust, which I can definitely feel airflow when I put my hand through here. And this instantly doing the same exact task. Like I said, I was about 80, 85 on average. With this, 63 was the highest temperature. So definitely a win. At idle, this thing's sitting at like 25, 30 degrees. And then, you know, all these cables are stock power supply. It was a really cheap power supply, and it actually, you know, all nice black cables. So I'm very happy with that. These are kind of cluttered, but you don't really see that anyways. It's no big deal. And then let me get to the storage. So this thing can house 3 3.5-inch drives right here. Right now I'm running one 12 terabyte drive. I do plan on getting all three same drives. And then right up here, there's a bracket that slides into this that holds another drive. Now my thinking is, so that leaves me with 4 drives. That theoretically should be more than enough. But I'm constantly adding stuff. You know, like we go to Walmart or Big Lots or something like that. You know, they got those $3 and $5 Blu-ray bins. Boom, grab it, rip it, toss it in a box. You know, because I'm keeping all the physical media, but it's just so nice to have everything at my fingertips on this. But another thing I thought of is I can find somebody that can print like a 3D bracket, the same one where it mounts one here, but just have it extend down. And I mean, you've got all the room in the world for a ton of drives right here. I can have 2 more fans in here, and that's the nice part, is the fans are actually on the outside of this. So they're inside of here, but they're not inside of this part. So all of this room is just free space. So I could theoretically line this thing with storage and be perfectly fine. I don't think it'll get to that, but it's definitely an option. So that is my Plex server. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing cleaned back up, case put back together, peel that cover off, and then actually move it and show you. So up here, this is what the Plex looks like. This is the server side. So like I can watch any of these on here, like on the server. So this is your Windows computer. And then there's Plex running right there. So right click and click open Plex. And then it comes up. So we've got, you know, movies over here. And then you've got your TV shows. That's gonna make the whole thing slide around. I was trying to do it with one hand. So there we go. So right now it is in the most awkward spot it's ever gonna be in, which is my back room. But I had to do it right here because I wanted to show what kind of power this thing uses. Also, I am not plugged into anything but power. The connection right now is solely off Wi-Fi, but just show you it's on. Nothing's plugged in. And there's the average power. I mean, like almost nothing. There's the amperage. I mean, some cell phone chargers use more than that. That's crazy. So, back downstairs, this was the mouse I was using for that one. And now you can see my my monitors are tied back together again. So you might be wondering, what if you need to get on it, or what if you need to do something? Well, that's where this lovely program comes in. Boom. So I can bring that up there and make it. Now, you'd almost think it was plugged in here. And then I can use my same mouse from here, go right up to this one. Plex and all that's already open. So, and then you see down there, Plex is running. So this is what the computer looks like without any input from me. This was just me plugging it in and turning it on. No keyboard, no mouse, no logging in, no starting up programs. You can see Plex is already there. And then boom. There's a little bit of a lag because it's, you know, just like remotely connected, but I mean, that's it. Such a simple setup. You know, the initial process, if you're ripping a bunch of Blu-rays, which, I mean, this isn't even like a fraction of the ones I got. That process takes the longest. Easily took me about a week or so, maybe a week and a half. And like I said, like ripping a movie off the Blu-ray disc or DVD takes like 20 minutes, 25 minutes tops. That's quick. if you're just gonna play all raw form, like say you don't have a big collection and you buy like an 8 terabyte hard drive, so you got plenty of space for what you do have. That's it. That's like the brunt of your work. That's the hardest part, is just ripping them. And it's not even hard. It takes the longest. All that software is free to rip them. I use Make MKV, that one right there. And then to convert them is right there, Handbrake. And yeah, so that is it. That is my Plex setup. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I don't really know what else to add, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this video. And like I said, if you got any comments, questions, suggestions, leave them down below. And yeah, this is just one of the many ways. So you can do a Raspberry Pi setup, you can do a NAS setup, the network attached storage, an actual server like in a rack. You know, the possibilities are endless. A lot of people, for their starters, will buy just an old like school computer, or even have an old laptop laying around, plug in a hard drive to it, put all your stuff on here, and then boom, you're good to go. I just wanted to kind of future-proof mine. I wanted to make sure I had more power than I should ever need, as well as the ability to add as much storage as I need in a nice little, I'm not going to say small case, but I can easily unplug that thing, toss it in my car. It's not going to take up much room when we move or anything like that. So, all right, guys, thank you for watching. I would definitely appreciate a thumbs up, and yeah, subscribe if you want some more.